Hello beautiful people and welcome, to a video about the latest Mavuika buff. And when I say Mavuika buff, it's not actually a buff, it's more so just a finding that makes her a little bit better in some teams. And it's also not really new, but it's new to me because I'm an idiot. So if you watched my Mavuika combo video that I made a while ago, I talked about a lot of the different Mavuika combos that you could do, and one of the combos that I mentioned was the one that I was using with Candace. And the combo that I was using with Candace was a combo that weaved in normal attacks in between charge attacks in order to apply additional hydro from Candace's C6 so that you could get your vapes. So instead of the default highest motion value combo of doing 2 charge attacks, then dashing and repeating, you only do 1 charge attack, then you dash, then you do a normal attack, and that's what you repeat, right? So instead of C2D, it's CD and 1. The default combo, C2D, right? Versus the normal attack combo, CD and 1. When I recorded that combo video back then, I thought that the maximum amount of charge attacks you could get with CDN1 was 5. That is not the case. You can actually get a 6th charge attack before your burst buff runs out. What that means is that when you're vaping, the CDN1 combo is actually better than the C2D combo, even when you don't need normal attacks for proccing Candace's C6. This isn't that big of a DPS increase, and it's pretty hard mechanically to do compared to the C2D combo, because Mavuika has pretty weird timing windows for when she can buff her attacks and when she can't. And if you try to do this combo, you will very often accidentally skip the N1 because it registered your buffer for the charge attack too early, or do an N2 because it registered the buffer for the charge attack too late. And if either of those things happen, your damage completely tanks, and it becomes worse than the C2D combo. But with Stygian Onslaught making it so that your DPS requirements are a lot more tight, it's balanced around you having good builds on the best teams for like difficulty 6 with R1 weapons without cons or early cons or whatever, right? The relevance of combos that are harder to do but give you a little bit more additional damage has gotten higher. And so, me learning that you are able to do 6, paired with that fact, has made this combo a lot more relevant. The main reason why this is not a combo that you do in Melt is because Citlali will apply enough cryo only to get 4 melted charge attacks within your burst duration by default. Citlali has a bunch of front-loaded cryo, but because of Mavuika's long burst animation, that front-loaded cryo happens during the burst animation, and then it's just cryo every 2 seconds, which only allows you to react 4 charge attacks. Technically, if you have 0 ping and you can swap from Citlali to Mavuika frame perfect as soon as possible, Mavuika's burst hits 1 frame before the application from that front load in Citlali, so you can end up getting 5 melts instead of 4. But that's not a combo I consider to be realistic. The thing is, that's assuming you're using Citlali as solo cryo, or you're using Zarya, or you're using any other cryo that has a cryo application every 2 seconds. In other words, if you were able to get more cryo application at the right time, then those favorable combos, the C2D combo and that CDN1 combo, could be worth doing in Melt. It's just difficult to get enough cryo. I've talked about doing it with the Ascension passive hit from Chongyun's field expiring by timing it right and getting 1 more melt through that. But it's a pretty niche thing that I don't think is generally all that worth doing. I've also talked a little bit about doing it with Diona, but today I want to talk about doing it with Escoffier. Since Escoffier has application every 2 seconds, just like Citlali, if you layer their applications so that on the first second it's Citlali, and then on the second it's Escoffier, you'll end up with 1 application from either of them every second. And that can allow you to have enough cryo up, not just for the 5 charge attack combo with C2D, but even for the 6 charge attack combo with CDN1. The problem with doing that is that it's very reliant on your timing. You need Escoffier and Citlali to be applying their cryo with enough time in between them. Because if they apply it back to back, and you don't do a Mavuika charge attack in between those 2 applications, you then have a long period of time you have to wait until your next cryo application. But there are ways to make these setups function. The specific timing and the specific order of abilities, unfortunately, is going to be ping dependent. Because what you want is you want to effectively have Citlali's app start a second after Escoffier's app. But because that's going to involve swamping, the more ping you have, the longer it takes for you to get to Citlali, and that's going to change the order of abilities potentially. In any case, let me just first show you that the combo is doable. So at very low ping, the combo that I've been doing is Escoffier skill, Mavuika skill, Bennett EQ, Citlali EQ, and then N1 and wait a little bit, and then burst. We got cooked there. Mavuika's normal attack did not properly target the enemy, so we didn't hit the enemy with the normal attack, which meant that our charge attack didn't apply pyro. So we're gonna try again. As you can see, I got a 6,000 melt on that last charge attack that I did, which means that I still had my burst buff. Because then I started doing 1,000 non-melts, which is like 2 point something thousand melts when the burst runs out. And so you can get 6 melts. Obviously, there's some problems that can arise after that, because Escoffier's ICD does not get reset when she uses her skill again. So if you use her skill before the 20 seconds are over, which you will in these teams, because Mavuika can do 18-second rotations, it can end up changing the timing for the second rotation if her skill is currently on ICD when you use it. Things can get difficult to do reliably, but they are doable. And in reality, it is very possible that this is Mavuika's best C0 team now. This actually compares pretty well to the Eonsan and Chilonen versions of this team. It's actually pretty similar in DPS to the Eonsan one. That being said, Escoffier, unlike Eonsan and Chilonen, is not an Atlan character, so if you kill the enemy early in your rotation, your first burst in the next chamber in Abyss is going to be even weaker, because you'll build up less Nisol by the time you use Mavuika's burst, even more so than when you're using Eonsan instead of Chilonen. And on top of that, the setups are harder to do, and the combo is harder to execute. So I still wouldn't recommend Escoffier over Eonsan or Chilonen, but the fact that she is usable here means that if you're in a Stygian Onslaught instance where you can't really make a freeze team anywhere because the bosses aren't favorable for that, so your Escoffier would otherwise just be sitting there benched, Escoffier is a strong option for Mavuika if your other sides need your Chilonen and your Eonsan. Because a lot of Chilonen's power is in the quality of life she provides, and Eonsan hasn't been added to GC Sim yet, the Escoffier version of this team is actually currently the highest C0 Mavuika team on GC Sim, sitting at a comfortable 137k. In any case, I just wanted to make a quick video about the team and the combo, because the combo is good when you're fighting enemies that have innate auras where you don't have to worry about your stuff, like against Tulpa. It's also good for vape teams in general, so it makes the vape teams a little bit less cope if you don't have the good cryo units or you don't want to use Rosaria because her stuff is stationary. The combo is also doable with Rosaria instead of Escoffier, but it's a lot more difficult to do because things do not line up nearly as well, and obviously you've got Circle Impact with Rosaria. If you're struggling to get the CDN1 combo, you can just do C2D and it's still pretty good. It is not much worse, actually. Yeah, obviously if you're looking for the builds here, because Escoffier doesn't burst in this team, you don't want her on Fav Lance. You just want her on any damage weapon, and then the rest of the team is built normally, but do remember you have Cryo Resonance, so especially if you're using Serpent Spine, it might be rough not to overcap on crit. Anyways, hope you guys have fun with the team if you end up using it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, YouTube.